3.5 weeks before, I was off my crutches and I decided that I would volunteer 40 hours or more. I would do 13 hours on Saturday, 13 hours on Sunday. I would miss the Packer games. That was really hard for me. I was able to do late night fast forwarding through the commercials. My dad let me do that,
What did that?
which was good.
You did a phone call during the Packer game, didn't you?
No.
No.
And we
We
were doing
trained
lit
them.
drops during that time. And, you know, most of the times when I wasn't watching the Packers, they would lose to, like, the Redskins and the Dolphins, and that was okay for me to miss. And then, pretty close to the election, about 3.5 weeks before, I met a guy named Lucas. He was from Germany. He worked with Paul with phone calls and lit drops. And I ended up spending a lot of time with Lucas, about half and half with Paul and Lucas on the weekends, going to cities that were also really small, farm cities, and we would go to the farms and we would listen to the same music. We had a lot in common, so we could talk a lot. So then, really close to the election, I did more phone calls, lit drops, parades, and it ended up that I was going to Florida right before the election, which was hard for me. But I ended up missing school on election day, so I could help out all day. Woke up at 6 and went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning the next evening because I was at the Ribble party. Most of my time was spent with
We
Reed.
heard nothing.
I did a little bit with Ron Johnson and a little bit with Scott Walker after that. I ended up being the volunteer coordinator in Appleton for Ron Johnson. Made over like 100 phone calls to people who might want to volunteer for Ron Johnson. And like I said, the focus was on the Ribble campaign because I definitely didn't want Steve Kagan in there. And I knew that Scott Walker had a pretty good chance at beating Tom Barrett, and I knew Ron Johnson had a pretty good chance at beating Russ Feingold, and I thought the biggest election was Reed Ribble against Steve Kagan. During that time, I also helped out with Chris Hansen, who was running for assembly. I helped her with some signs, and I took a picture with her, and it was a lot of fun with her. I also did a lit drop for Jim Steineke, who was running for assembly. I did that in Black Creek with one of the people who was at the Victory Center named Sean. And I was really blessed to have that experience, and it's one of the best nights of my life behind the Super Bowl on election night. Because I know there will be other great election nights, but Super Bowl doesn't come very often. To this day, I'm still volunteering. I volunteered with Jack Foyt. I want to congratulate him for his win during the primary, even though he's not here. I want to congratulate Lori again for her win, but I was interested in volunteering. I just did not have the time. I'm thinking of having more time and volunteering with her
You're signed up.
later. I also helped out a little bit with Reed's campaign, not campaign anymore, but after he got sworn in, did some paperwork with Paul at the new office at the Radisson Paper Valley. And that's pretty much it for politics. I'm going to talk a little bit about my family. My dad's here this evening, taping me. I have a sister named Sarah. She's in college at Colorado College in Colorado Springs. She went to Appleton North High School. I'm very proud of her. She wants to be a doctor in her future, and she's really done a lot for our family. She's a great volunteer. She volunteers at Brewster Creek Retirement Village and other volunteering, not for politics. My other sister is named Catherine. She's a freshman at Renaissance School for the Arts and Appleton North High School. It's like a half-day idea. And then my mom and my dad own a business called Loan Sifter. That's pretty much what they spend their time on, but when they don't spend their time on that, they get home. Well, my dad gets home at about 6 or 7 every night, and my mom works at home so she can pick us up from events and take us to and from school and to other events. But I'm really happy that my dad and my mom, we do a lot of trips together, we spend a lot of time together, and more than most families do. And I read a comment on the Post-Crescent that my parents don't spend time with me. That is the exact opposite. They don't really spend much time with friends, so they can spend time with family, and that means a lot to me. And I also look up to my dad because he's such a hard worker. He runs this business, and he works so hard, and he's really nice to all of his employees. We also have a snake, a newt, and 2 dogs. which is a lot of fun to keep up with. And also, a really cool thing is that my grandfather called me the senator at age 2. I would walk into a room and go like this. That was before I could hardly speak at all. And so it ended up being right before he passed away, but I thought that was amazing that he called me the senator. And as of now, I would like to be eventually a senator. And then just thank you everyone for coming out here this evening and supporting me. And I want to thank the Women's Republican Group again because I know that they helped out a lot with the election in 2010. And every hour spent is hour that the people who are running need. And just thank you everyone for coming out here.
See why you're proud. He is impressive. That's the first time I heard that. I would adopt him.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, does anybody
Yeah, are you taking Q&A?
Yes, I am. Sure.
I agree, you're gonna be senator.
Go ahead.
I didn't follow public politics all my life, so I was volunteering at your age, and I was kind of in the situation you are now, where I was in the media all the time and stuff. And the thing that I found to be the most beneficial to me was making friends with other kids who were also volunteering for the Republican Party. I made a lot of friends I have to this day. You gotta find other kids who are around. I know it's hard to do because they might not even be in this county, but reach out. I made friends with people from all over the country. So you don't wanna just do it alone.
Yeah,
It's no fun that way.
I actually
Senators always know when the pictures are about to be taken. They can always find the camera.
I actually got a friend request from a guy who was a big Georgetown University fan. He lives in New Mexico, and he found me because I was a Georgetown fan, and I don't add people on Facebook that I don't know, but he said I needed to add him, so I added him. And I talked to him right after I added him to see if he was somebody that I needed to add, and I really want to go to Georgetown, and I like following the Georgetown sports and everything, but the main thing is I talked to him one day when I was sick home from school. He had a snow day in New Mexico, and it's probably like 2 inches of snow. And so it was like 5 degrees, and I was like, that's why you get out of school, 5 degrees. But he ended up having his dad run for Congress in New Mexico. His name's J.D. Barella. His dad ran for Congress as a conservative. He's 15. He helped out with the campaigns. And we have a lot in common because he likes Georgetown, and he also volunteered a lot for the campaigns. And he's really fun to talk to. I obviously kept him as a friend, and I guess, yeah, that answers it a little bit, but I haven't found anybody other than that.
Find some local kids.
Yeah, I haven't found
TARS,
anybody.
North High School, your sister could be part of TARS, the Republican organization.
Oh, right.
I heard they have about 20 members.
I guess I have found one guy who lives in my neighborhood, or two, Steve Vandehay. He volunteered a lot for the Roth campaign, and then he had a job, so he couldn't help out. But he is the one who actually got me into it. He gave me all the contacts for everything, and that was a lot of fun for me to meet him. But other than those 2 or 3, I haven't really met very many in our area. So, any other questions?
Do they have programs in your school where you can be like back when I was in school 100 years ago, they had youth in government?
Yeah, I'm in youth and government at the YMCA.
Okay. Do they take you down to Madison? And
Yeah, I
do the
actually
caucuses?
couldn't go. I went to the Stevens Point pre-government. It's the same. It's just at a high school. I couldn't go because I was actually on a family trip with my dad to Colorado to see my sister who goes to college there, and that was actually this weekend. I did write a bill.
Good.
So that was a lot of fun for me, the youth and government program, and I'll definitely do it again next year and probably through high school.
Good for you.
So,
I was in that back in the 70s, and I'm still friends with all of those guys. And Tim Hanna was one of my friends in
wow.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
So.
Any other questions?
What attracts you the most to the politics?
Like I said, I really don't know why. I think that we need to change our country right now. It's in dire need of help. In 2006, the Bush in office, we needed help and everything, but I didn't really understand it at that age very much. My parents are really interested in politics, so I don't know how I got involved, but I do want to change the country and I want to have the right people elected. If it needs to be an independent, if the Republican isn't as good as the independent or even Democrat, I'll go there, but I'm more towards obviously the Republican side. And I just want to change the country, but other than that, I just don't know why I got into politics. It's just a sudden, what's the word? Something that I really want to do when I'm older, and I don't know why though.
Do you say Pledge of Allegiance at school?
Yeah, I do. A lot of people don't say it, they just mouth it, or they don't say it at all. I'm actually saying it at the Lincoln Day dinner on Monday, which that will be exciting for me because it's going to be my first Lincoln Day dinner. And I'm hoping to go to the, I don't know the official name, but it's the Republican Convention for Wisconsin in May, late May. So,
We'll see you there.
May 20th.
21st through 23rd or something.
May 20th, 21st, French Saturday.
We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Convention.
Anything else?
Is there, what drew you